We're now at the point in the sweater where our stripes are starting to stair-step in and get shorter every stripe round that we're doing. And so I want to talk about how we achieve that look. The pattern is going to tell us we have just completed 3 rounds with our main color, just like we've been doing all along, 3 rounds with the main color. And the pattern tells us after we finish that 3rd round with our main color, you'll notice that your main color and your contrast color yarns are both connected at the same spot. So your main color is connected to the stitches on your needle, your contrast color is connected to the last time you did contrast work, which is 3 rows down there, but they're both connected to the same place. And my stitch marker fell off. So the pattern says you are actually going to remove the marker, so it was okay that it came off. So you just take the marker off and set it aside. You're going to want that again really shortly, so don't put it away too far. The pattern is now going to say with your main color, securing the contrast color behind. Knit between 7 and 12 stitches depending on what size you're doing. What in the world does that mean? What that means is I'm going to be doing my knitting with my main color, so that's going to be my blue in this case, but I want to carry that green yarn along behind me, very, very similarly to if you were doing a color work project, like a Fair Isle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that blue, I'm going to twist it behind the green. So all I've done is I've trapped that green yarn from where it's connected at the bottom, I've trapped it against the fabric with the blue yarn. And then I'm just going to knit a few stitches with my main color yarn, and then I'm going to do that exact same thing again. So now the last place that my green yarn kind of was tucked in was a few stitches ago. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to wrap my blue yarn around my green yarn just to kind of secure that contrast color there. So the contrast yarn is just wrapped around. And I keep knitting with my main yarn. So I'm going to do that until I've done the number of stitches that my pattern said. So if you're doing the size small, you're going to do it for 7 stitches. If you're doing it for the size large, you're going to do it for 12, or the size 3X, you're going to do it for 12 stitches. All the other sizes somewhere in between there, like the pattern tells you to. On my mini one, obviously I'm doing less than that. So once you've done the number of stitches that your pattern tells you to, it's not going to be tons of stitches, then the pattern tells you to put your marker back on. So we've just moved where our beginning of the round marker starts. It's going to start here this time. And now the pattern is telling us with our contrast color yarn only, so that means let go of your main color yarn. Don't cut it, just leave it connected right there at your stitch marker. Now we are going to knit across. The pattern is going to tell us to knit until we do between 7 and 12, depending on your size, stitches from the last wrap and turn that we did. And again, you may think, what in the world does that mean? Well, the way that we're creating stripes in this pattern is by doing the wrap and turn that we did the last time. And so you see here where this stripe ends, right here, that was the last wrap and turn. So if we're doing the size small, the pattern says we're going to go 7 stitches from where we did that last wrap and turn. So here's my last wrap and turn. I'm just tracing where that stitch was. It's right here. I'm going to go to 7 stitches before there. 2, 4, 6, 7. So that is how I know how far I'm going to knit. So when you're up at the top of your sweater, so you've just started the body knitting, you are going to be knitting almost all the way around your sweater. And then as you go farther down, closer to the bottom hem, towards the hip of the sweater, your stripes are going to stair-step get shorter every time. So you start off with really long rows of your contrast before you do your wrap and turn, but you end up not doing all that many stitches at all there. So when you get to that spot where you're supposed to wrap and turn, just like we did last time, oops. So get to that spot right before your wrap and turn, the number of stitches that your pattern told you to. Just like the last time, to do a wrap and turn, we put our needle in we slide it across, we bring the yarn from where it is in the back to the front, we slide that stitch we just slid back again, we turn our work, so that's the turn part, and the pattern tells us to knit to the end, so we are going to knit to the end. So I turn around and knit. I'm now working on the next row. So I'm going to knit all the way back to my marker. Then the pattern is going to tell us to start working with the main color yarn. The main color is connected right here at the marker. I'm just going to do my 3 rounds with that. So that is how to do those stair step stripes that get shorter every row.